Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. And in today's video, I'll be doing a retro review of Mega Man 5, so let's get into it. So Mega Man 5, fifth installment in the Mega Man series, and yet again in this game, evil robots are on a rampage, destroying the world, but this time the evil robots seem to be led by Proto Man. So this is quite a twist for the Mega Man series because at this point you're still not really sure if Proto Man is good or bad, and at this point he seems to be bad as he actually kidnaps Dr. Light during the chaos. So once again you take on the role as Mega Man to put an end to the terror of these robots and to go out and save Dr. Light. So again, you'll team up with your trusty dog Rush to fight the evil robots and save the world. And so in similar fashion to previous Mega Man games, you go out and take on 8 evil robots with unique stages and abilities, and when you defeat them, you acquire their powers. And so there's a lot that I like about this game, but there's other things that I don't like as well. And for me, Mega Man 5 isn't my least favorite Mega Man game, but it's definitely not my favorite either. And so some of the things that I really like about the game is the boss fights in the game. So there's great bosses in this game like Gravity Man, Gyro Man, Star Man, Wave Man, and more. And so it's fun trying to tackle their stages and defeat the bosses. One thing that I really like about this game is that they try to incorporate a lot of unique new elements into the stages. So for example, in Gravity Man stage, you'll be transferring back and forth between gravity that pulls you towards the ground and then gravity that pulls you towards the ceiling. And so this creates some cool, unique scenarios where you're sliding around on the ceiling, climbing down ladders instead of climbing up them. And during the boss fight with Gravity Man as well, you'll be shooting from the floor to the ceiling back and forth during the fight, and it becomes pretty cool. Another great stage is in Starman stage, and it's pretty much a zero gravity type situation where you can jump incredibly high throughout the stage like you're in space. And so that's pretty fun being able to do that, as well as dodging spikes on the ceiling in this stage, which makes it a lot of fun. So the different environments that you go through in the game are pretty unique and fun to experience as you play. They also try to do a lot of unique things with the weapons of the bosses, so they have some pretty crazy patterns that you need to get used to if you want to beat them, as well as their weapons have a lot of unique abilities and characteristics as well. And I think this is maybe where the game got a little bit too ambitious, and maybe why I don't necessarily like this game as much, because a lot of the weapons are very hard to use. And so again, in similar fashion to other Mega Man games, it has a rock, paper, scissors type mechanic where some boss weapons will be very effective against others, but in this game's case, they tried to make a lot of the weapons unique and not just shoot in a straight line or something like that. So there's weapons like the charge kick where you only can do damage while sliding. There's a weapon from Stone Man that shoots a spiral of stones around the screen, making it very hard to control. And there's a weapon from Wave Man, for example, that shoots waves, but it only attacks directly on the ground, making it a little bit difficult to use. And so I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan of these different weapons because they shoot out pretty awkward. And in some cases, I feel like it makes the boss fights harder than just using your Mega Buster when you're supposed to be using a weakness against these bosses. So that can be definitely frustrating when you play. The game also does introduce some cool, unique elements to the Mega Man series as well, like riding in different vehicles. And so in this game, you get access to a jet ski with a gun. Pretty cool. So in Wave Man stage, you'll be jumping around with that and shooting enemies as they come at you. This kind of was reminiscent to me as like the speeder bike jet ski scenes in Battletoads, and so I like that aspect of the game. Another neat aspect that they added into the game was collecting all of the letters of Mega Man 5. And so when you do this, you unlock the Beat ability, which brings your trusty sidekick Beat, which is a robotic bird, to attack enemies. And so as another cool aspect to the game, trying to get these various letters in the stages. Unfortunately, in some cases, when you miss a letter, you have to go back into the stage to try and get it again. And this part can get a little frustrating if you happen to miss a letter and have to go back to the beginning of a stage to redo that, or kill yourself a bunch of times in attempts to get that letter you might have missed. But it is definitely worth picking up all those letters to unlock Beat in the game. Another thing I'll say about the game, it is certainly challenging and it is a longer game, but to some extent, I think it is easier than other Mega Man games, especially if you're familiar with the series. In this game, I found that several of the starting levels have Eddie that will come in, who's a robot that throws out items like energy tanks, extra guys, and more to you. And like I said, in previous Mega Man games, he was maybe in 1 or 2 stages, but I felt like in this game, he was in at least 4 or 5, giving you a lot of opportunities to get extra energy tanks if you wanted to stock up on them. And I actually found myself being at the end of the game having about 5 to 6 extra energy tanks more than I needed. And on top of that, this game also has an M tank for the first time in the series. And what this does is actually fill up your energy, but also fills up all of your weapon energies as well. Now, while it might not be necessary for you to use this if you're an experienced player, it is incredibly satisfying watching all of those power meters fill up at the same time when you use that Mega Tank. Another thing for me that was maybe a little bit disappointing with this game is the final end stages with Dr. Wily, where some of them were challenging, but if you use the right weapon on them, it's so easy it's not even funny. Where, for example, the final boss, you can use beat on them and basically just jump around the screen and dodge the bullets, and it will just automatically defeat Dr. Wily for you. And so for me, that's not really fun, where it's not much of a challenge. It's kind of like if you get to that final stage, you're guaranteed to win, and you maybe need to use 1 energy tank, if anything, on the final boss in the game. Where in other Mega Man games, that's usually the hardest part of the game. And so that left me feeling a little unsatisfied having the final boss of the game being so easy. But overall, I do enjoy Mega Man 5 in the series. Like I said, it's fun to play. It has some cool new features to it. But to me, it's not a top tier Mega Man game, just kind of in the middle compared to some of the other ones. But let me know in the comments below how you feel about Mega Man 5. If you think it's one of your favorites, if it's kind of middle of the road like me, or maybe it's one of your least favorite Mega Man games, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to pick this game up, certainly you can play it on the original NES if you want, but it's also available in the Mega Man Legacy Collection that's out on current systems. So be sure to check for it there as well. But again, guys, if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button, as it really helps out the channel. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. If you'd like to help us pick out content, support the channel, and more, become a patron of ours at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And if you'd like to plug into our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel, you can follow us on Twitch at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.